am Patricia Villone with CTV News, and with me now is former delegate Marice Morales. She is currently an attorney, practicing attorney. And I saw a post that you had put up on Instagram, which talked about some volunteer opportunity that you had been doing, and it happens to involve your sister. So you want to tell us the background of that?
That's right, Patricia. My sister is a resident at Elmhurst Hospital in New York City. I had seen a frightening video issued by the New York Times last Friday. It was my understanding that unfortunately there was a shortage of PPE or protective gear for our healthcare workers on the front line, and my sister happens to be one of them. And as an older sister, obviously, I was deeply troubled by this. I couldn't think about anything else. I only concentrated and focused on ways to be able to help her out, and so I just organized a PPE drive. Put out a couple posts on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and I, within not even a half an hour, I started getting contacted by different groups that were doing kind of similar things. And so my focus shifted on connecting with local members of academia, actually, who have access to 3D printers. And with these 3D printers, you can, in a very quick way, print out medically sound shields. And because we're at such a heightened level of a crisis, according to the CDC, these shields were good enough, in fact, to be able to send to my sister and her colleagues at Elmhurst. So we also pushed out our GoFundMe page, and within less than, I think it's over $6,000 now, but within 48 hours, we had raised $2,500. And with that money, we're basically just buying material. We're buying this filament to quickly print these out and then ship them out to New York. It's been really wonderful to see how different members of the community have responded to our ask. And, folks have given $10, they've given $20, like whatever they could, they could. And we're actually, our fourth shipment should be received today. We've sent over 100 shields to my sister and her colleagues. And the cool part about this is that they can actually be reused. They can be easily disinfected, and the quality of the shield itself is excellent, and it covers the entire face. Hopefully, Patricia, you can, as part of your story, you can include some of the pictures that are on social media. It's very important, right, that the community know that we're very grateful, and that whatever they contribute is actually going to healthcare workers, and because there's scams going around, all kinds of asks out there. Obviously, I wouldn't be a part of anything that would be out there to defraud the public. But for me, it was very important that I do whatever I could to help out my sister and just our health heroes in general.
So let's talk a little bit about Elmhurst. That seems to be ground zero in New York for where the COVID-19 patients are going. And your sister, you told me, is a resident psychiatric doctor right now, or is studying to be a psychiatric doctor. And yet she's being pulled into this and may have to change exactly what she's doing. Tell us about that.
That's right. The Elmhurst Hospital is becoming an ICU only for COVID patients, in fact. And so regardless of the area of medicine, residents, doctors, nurses, they're all exposed to infected patients. They're all asked to treat infected patients, and Elmhurst, so we can see that how New York City is being impacted in this way. It's also why we see how the U.S. Navy has sent a ship just recently, and then we know that FEMA is going to be coming, or is going to be arriving with some help as well, so that the non-COVID patients can be treated in those areas. There's also, I've heard about Central Park becoming also a hospital center for non-COVID patients. But like you said, Patricia, Elmhurst Hospital, it's at the epicenter of all of this. And just seeing how well the community has responded and helping us to get some PPE out their way, we are going to be also preparing for shortages here in the DMV. And so I've been contacting and I've been coordinating with the Maryland Hospital Association, Adventist Hospital here in Germantown, where we also have We have requests for PPE from the Baltimore Washington Hospital Center, Howard County Medical Center. So we're coordinating and making sure that we can also start to prepare for any situations of shortages here in the DMV. We know that there's a wave that Maryland is yet to see, but I think that with the governor's present quarantine orders, and also just the way that I just admire how the legislature speaker Adrian Jones and members of the Health and Government and Operations Committee, how quickly they were able to pass a bill that actually allows the governor to do all of this. So it's important to also acknowledge that. I think that we need to be responsible as responsible community members and continue to respect the quarantine orders, to stay home so that we can lessen the exposure and and just the opportunity to continue to infect one another, right?
So one of the things that we were talking about is, we've heard a lot of volunteer efforts to make masks. This is something that goes a little bit beyond that. We're using the ingenuity of 3D printing. And we've heard about 3D printing being used for so many things, but in this case, it's a vital importance to use this technology. How is the community that knows how to use this coming together?
Yeah, so members of academia, we have Marymount University, who has been leading this effort. I was connected with physics professor Dr. Eric Bubar. He is a resident of Laurel, Maryland, actually, and so we were able to connect. We also have individuals up in Clarksburg, Hagerstown, just members that are in the kind of the sciences and math and physics community that they just happen to have access to 3D printers, and a lot of these folks are folks just printing them out of their homes, and because they are members of academia, they understand the standards, right? The safety standards that these equipment that needs to abide by, and so they've basically self-regulated and have made sure that at every time that they come into contact with any of this gear or this equipment, that they are wearing gloves, that they have masks themselves, and they're reaching the CDC guidelines. But also, it's also important to note that because we're in such a crisis mode, hospitals are really kind of just in New York, they're just asking for whatever they can get their hands on. But having these safety guidelines obviously is imperative, right? So that we don't continue to spread the infection. But it's just been remarkable, Patricia. They're just folks like you and me that are, that got behind a computer and said, listen, I have a 3D printer, how can I help? And it's through an organization called Enable DC. And it's a group of physicists around the world, actually. And so we have a DC chapter, and I've been kind of pushing. I've kind of been like their PR person at this point, and just kind of pushing out the messaging that there is indeed something you can do just from the comfort of your home. Even if it's just sending a couple bucks here or there, we can continue to print out these shields so that we can protect our healthcare workers.
So before we close, tell us how the average person out there can help in this cause.
Sure. We have a GoFundMe. It's through Enable DC, and I'm pushing it on my social media. Obviously, I haven't memorized the link by heart, but if you follow me on @Delegate Morales, or you add me on Facebook, Marice Morales, then you'll see the GoFundMe. It's all over. It's in my bio, etc. You can also Google GoFundMe Enable DC. And you can also place COVID-19 PPE or something like that. But there is a GoFundMe. And just so you also know, Adventist Hospital has created a kind of a set of instructions. If you're collecting gloves, etc., for your and you want to donate, you can absolutely do so. And they've set up a whole part of their campus just to receive contributed goods, so that our healthcare workers locally can have access to those. And
you said which hospital is this?
Adventist Hospital, and it's in their. Yes, and it's in their Germantown, on their Germantown campus. That's where they're receiving all of any PPE supply that folks are looking to contribute are looking to donate.
All right, some great advice there. Anybody who wants to help out, that's good to know that there's some things that they can do to assist in all of this. That's all right, Marice Morales, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you.